Dynamite download.
AEW 2020, John Silver.
Special event, as you can see, SPD.
For a splashing good time. January recruitment month for them.
I come along, I come along in the ring.
I would not want to hear that. I would not. We got great this year at SPD. Boy, weird.
Welcome to Friday Night Flights and Fights, everyone. SPD is back representing Team Babyface. Had to let that intro run a little bit longer because I had to fill up my cup for the weekend.
Yes,
Cheers,
sir.
gentlemen. This is a Junior Red Solo Cup.
What's everybody
Friday
drinking
night,
tonight?
baby.
What's everybody
It's
drinking
Friday.
tonight, Bob?
It's Saturday, Sunday. What? It's Friday. Yeah. It's Saturday, Sunday. What?
We all know that song. We know all
Oh,
that
yeah.
song. If
Hey,
you don't, you
right,
need
man.
to look that up because you're missing something that's going to
You
change
don't know?
change your week every week. It's going to change your week.
It'll change your life every week.
Yeah, I will. Welcome. What are you fellas drinking tonight on this Friday, y'all?
We've got some Great Lakes Tidal Fury.
Nice.
Good
nice.
stuff. Great Lakes, you can't go wrong.
Great Lakes, one of my favorite brewing companies, that's fresh out of the Cleveland, Ohio, my friends. Our home, and the God's country down there.
One of
SPD,
my favorite breweries out there is Fatheads out of
Fatheads is awesome.
Cleveland.
great brewery.
Fatheads IPA, man, is my favorite IPA, and I'm an IPA fanatic. And
We'll
so
have to go to Fatheads.
Well,
It's about 10
let's
minutes from
be
my
honest.
house.
Between Fatheads, between Great Lakes Brewing Company, between the Cleveland Browns, and between Wardlow, it's good to be from Cleveland these days, folks.
Yeah.
I
that's
like
up
it.
for debate. That's up for debate.
At least we're not Detroit. That's what we always say.
That's our slogan down here. It's pretty awesome.
Anyway, SPD, what do you got over there, brother?
I got a nice Costco-sized bottle of Bullet, which I always wonder why the label's always crooked. Are they that sloshed at the distillery that they can't put the label on straight? Just
That's
slap
funny.
it on. Let's
Just
go.
throw it on there. Get it out the door. Let's go. Nice, guys. All right. Well, I got a little Four Roses and Coke Zero, trying to keep the sugar under control there. So,
There you
gonna
go,
be a
bro.
dad. Gonna be a dad soon. So, got that going on. So, hey, let's get into the show, guys. Bonds, thank you for joining us this week. SPD, you've been working like a dog, but I think what happened Wednesday night kind of maybe gave you the energy to push yourself over the hump. Am I right?
That's right. There's still a few days left on the docket. Got another long early morning tomorrow, but we're here ready to roll, man.
Let's
Looking
do
forward
it,
to
baby. Let's
You
do
know,
it.
We're diving right in. So I know, Bonds, we got a lot on store that could be multiple shows deep. And like
Yeah.
always,
Get us
everyone.
started, Bonzi. This is
Yeah,
your
well,
show.
like always,
homie.
anyone in the chat, if you want to throw in a topic, we'll add it to our queue and we'll discuss it. We love chatting with you guys and getting the feedback from you guys. But
Best part.
we're gonna
Good
kick
vibes.
things off, Bonds. Kick it off for us. What's on your
All right.
What's on your mind, brother?
So Crayfish, he challenged me today. He said, "Hey, we need to get the singles competitor rankings up on here. Do you have that SPD? Can you bring
Yep.
that up for us? We got to look at this." And he said, "Tell me what you notice first."
I'll be
And
quiet.
Okay, I'll let you go first, SPD, because I want to take a look at this. I want to digest it. And what do you notice first when you look at the rankings?
A lot of 11s.
Yeah,
You
that's-
would.
that's true. That's super true.
Well, that's what I honestly noticed first.
Okay. And
Fair
Bonds?
enough. I think I'm noticing a lot of homegrown
11s.
young stars.
Right. Only
Um,
Miro is the only ex WWE, which is a good sign. I think that's what maybe the plan was all along. Introduce the world to AEW with familiar faces and slowly change the landscape. And you watered the flowers on day one, and you're now reaping what you sowed.
What a beautiful garden.
Oh, it's
What
awesome.
a beautiful garden this is.
I'm surprised Ethan Page is up there, honestly.
I think this was before he lost.
This was before he lost to Darby. This was going into
he's been
the show.
consistently pairing with Scorpio and stuff like that. And so I know he's had a handful of singles matches, but the push with the tag, I was kind of surprised to see him up there, but I like it.
I mean, there's a lot to like about All Ego. And I think that it's nice to see that AEW recognizes it, that the fan base recognizes it. You know, even me as the guy who, if you noticed, the guy who's right ahead of Ethan Page, even the guy here, the Darby,
I can't see him.
The conductor of the Darby Express. I can say, you know, it's great to see that AEW recognizes that they have something special in All Ego.
Yeah.
And that feud has, I think, given both those guys a great platform. SPD, Bonds and I talked a little bit about this before we pitched this segment, and at no point in time did I think you were going to say that you noticed a lot of 11s. I mean, that didn't cross my mind at all. But now that I look at the graphic, I'm like, he's got a point. There's a lot of 11s there.
There's a lot of ones. Yeah,
a lot of 11s.
No, but honestly, the next thing that did stick out was the top 5 was no WWE, ex-WWE stars. What that was on it, you know, but the 11 was, you said first thing you noticed. That was it.
First thing you noticed, Bonds, and you said yours was?
The youth and the new faces.
Interesting. And you're starting to hear the things out there in the chat. I'd love to hear what you guys think about when you look at these rankings. What's the thing that jumps out at you? Obviously, you got Sharonica out here. She loves herself some All Ego. Ethan Page, and why not? And hey, Pen's right there with you, SPD. After the 11-11 thing, also recognizes, you know, there's a lot of homegrown talent here, a lot of talent that, as you said, AEW planted the seeds with a Chris Jericho, planted the seeds with some of these guys, familiar faces that we're used to.
Right.
But now what are they doing?
They're re-landscaping.
They're changing the landscape, and as you can see. The investment in the youth here is evident. When I saw this post on AEW's Twitter, that was the first thing that jumped out at me.
Yeah,
was the youth that is represented in these top 5 rankings. The youth of America.
The youth is on fire.
Is that the song?
The youth is on fire.
All right. I can get down with that.
Get down with that, bro.
Well,
what are the age? Who's the oldest of these? Is it Page or is it Hangman?
Orange Cassidy's like in his mid-30s, so out of all those guys, he's the oldest.
Okay.
But I think he might be the only guy that's like over like 31 or 32.
Yeah, All Ego
Not
is
that
31.
it matters.
My point being, like, you know, these are
still young.
These are all talents that have a lot of untapped potential that we see, and that I think are just scratching the surface of what they can give us. You know, that's the thing, SPD. When I first saw this, I thought, wow, like the youth movement in AEW is strong. What we're seeing, the investment that AEW is, and even beyond these rankings, right? You think MJF, immediately your mind goes to an MJF. Sammy Guevara, his arch nemesis. Sammy, also a superstar and super young. Incredible upside talent there. You could go all over. I mean, when we look at the roster now in AEW, it has such a great blend of veteran talents that we can see, that are leading the charge now. And then this youth movement that is really being presented week after week after week as equals to those talents. And I think that's really important. AEW is investing in their future right now, and it's paying off in a big way. We saw Darby Allin, SPD, I know that you don't want to admit that Darby is on fire, but dude, Darby Allin has been involved in the top 4 ranked main events in Dynamite. So that there's something to be said about what Darby Allin brings to the table.
There's no doubting he's a draw. There's no doubting he is a kid's role models. You know, people love to. You know, I painted my face when I was a kid for Sting.
You did?
You know, it's like you said, the ultimate underdog. I thought I sent you guys a photo.
Yeah, you're gonna have to share that with the fans.
I'll have to do a little quick searching real quick. But anyways, the ultimate underdog experience, like you've said, it's not. I like Darby. I just don't like the way he has been booked lately compared to what I've seen in the past. You know, I loved when he was like going against the Inner Circle, man. He was putting on show-stealing matches for sure. And you know, the numbers don't lie, and the amount of main events he's had over the last 2-3 months are for a reason.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, he's on a different level, man. He's going and having a really cool run where he's able to just go over on these guys that are bigger than him, that have this like fire that he doesn't always show, but he shows it in the ring. And it's just really cool that he'll like, even again, he beat Ethan Page and then did a coffin drop onto the coffin just because
I don't think it was necessary personally.
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't. I
would have gone. I would have gone nuts for it live, but like,
yeah, bro, and that's what it's about. The crowd was hot.
Hey, fan. I feel like
let's be real.
Let's
be real, man. Come on. If you were there live, that crowd was so freaking hot that whole night. Dude, Darby gave them that moment where they were able to leave, going home, going like, "What the heck did we just see?" Like, and props to Ethan Page for taking that, like you said too. That casket. I mean, it didn't look like that would be fun to receive that move. That's all I'm going to say. And it didn't look like it would be fun to see what Darby received. You talked about it, SPD. You cringed when you saw it, and Bonds, you mentioned it in your column. The ego's edge onto the steel steps. The brutality is something that some of these guys are showing an edge, and I think they have to. If you are trying to make a name for yourself in AEW, there's a lot of talent on this roster. All of a sudden, guys, there's a lot of talent on this roster, guys. And so you really got to start taking it, and AEW gives you the creative freedom to do that. SPD, for me, I'm a big MJF fan.
You're a team heel.
But I'm right now, for some reason, I am really vibing with this Darby Allin and Ethan Page feud. I think some of it's because I like Ethan Page so much too. I just think those two guys work really, really well together. They obviously have that history, and I dig that kind of stuff. So I'm into that feud. And I also love the Santana and Ortiz versus FTR feud right now. But there's a lot going on in AEW, SPD. Who's the young guy focusing in on those rankings for Bonds and I? Like, we see youth. Who's the young guy that you would put Hatch? Like, if you had a number one pick now, Bonds, I'm throwing this out there because I know you love drafts. Yeah. Anybody out there love drafts? Like, I just love.
Yeah, I mean, drafts. How many in your prime of fantasy football? How many mock drafts did you do before a season?
Dude, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Easily, like I would say, without even worrying about it, I would clear over 100, 125 in a summer.
Clearly, you love drafts.
I love drafts. And so when you look at the AEW roster, SPD Bonds, I'm going to throw it to you. One draft pick under 30 years old. Who would be your pick to build your franchise around on this roster right now? Under 30.
Ooh, that's a good question, bro.
It's hard because I don't know everyone's age, but
come on, Pee Wee.
Yeah,
then err on the side of caution. Then come on, or look it up while Bonds answers because he's gonna. Who are you thinking of? Look up that guy. It's just like a draft, dude. It's just like any draft. Who would it be?
Under 30.
Under 30, bro. You want me to go?
Right now,
you gotta go.
Right now, SPD. Right now, Hangman Adam Page hanging on by a thread.
Counts. He's 29.
Hanging on by a thread.
Is he?
Yeah.
If the draft is at this time next month, you can't pick him.
No.
So
I'm picking Hangman because how hot he is. Okay, easily Hangman. But
who would your pick be out there?
The crowd has been the hottest by far for Hangman since the Summer of Pain and Summer of Road shows has happened. Maybe you can kind of finagle that with the audio, but clearly they are just so on fire. Honorable mention if we're keeping things on Team Babyface.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
Would be Jungle Boy, but if I'm going Team Heel, it would have to be MJF and Ricky Starks.
Oh, how do you? Ooh, you can't just double dip like that.
No,
You're
it's the one
trading up and getting the first 4 picks in the draft.
So
drafting.
All right, my man. Are we watching?
Why don't we next week have a mock draft?
We'll do a
our 10 picks mock
we'll
draft.
Do a 10-round draft.
We'll roll the
10
dice.
picks. I like it.
Let's pick our 10 pick draft.
Ooh, I like
and
this.
then everybody vote for who has the best draft.
Roster. Yes. There we go.
I like it.
We got our next week's show already going.
I like it.
Booking by SPD.
Draft, baby, Friday night.
Baby, I like that. I
know you
smart.
love drafts, bro.
Love it. I'm in. I am all in on that. That sounds fantastic.
It gives you time to analyze.
Ooh, yeah, we'll have to
Got
break
some
everything
mock
down.
draft picks going.
Yeah, I like it, guys. I like where you guys are headed with this. This sounds great. We'll roll the dice. We'll post the results on social. SPD, you can make a graphic. I'm sure you're Mr. Graphics. We could do a little something like that. Let's get that going. That'll be a lot of fun, guys. But my top pick, we'll share it later on. Bonds,
I gotta hear everyone's top pick.
Top pick. Let's go. All right, Bonds, you know yours?
It's MJF.
Under 30, not a top pick for. So this is totally different from the draft. You're talking right now, top pick under
Just
30,
under
not top pick
30.
for a franchise. Yeah,
just under 30. That's it.
MJF is my pick. There we go. Easy peasy. Best heel in the game already. He's like 25.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
He's going to be the man.
He moves the needle. There's no doubt. He moves the needle.
Hates him. You could put anybody over on him because everybody hates him so much. That's how you can just build any baby face with MJF. Just have.
It's so true.
You know what I mean? It would be having him as the start of your company would just be such a smart business decision because you could just build all the baby faces you want, and anytime you want to heal, just have them align with MJF, and then he's the salt of the earth for a reason, man.
Any face that you put against him, and SPD and I talk about that a lot, guy. Like on the show, every time we talk about MJF in a segment, it feels like it's hard not to go back to this line, right? Where it's just like, man. In any given segment or feud, it has to be such a great feeling to know that you can just count on him to do his part. Like he is going to be that reliable heel that you need in a segment. He's going to be that guy who is going to like check all the boxes, be a dirty heel, like get heat. Like it just
mad
feels
heat.
Gets mad heat, man. Like it's crazy. So, I don't know, man. I think that's a great pick. The way I'm vibing right now, I honestly think that if it's my pick has to be MJF. I mean that's my guy. Yeah. I'm tempted right now to pick Darby just to piss SPD off, but I would pick MJF.
Well, I might just, depending on my draft order, I might just pick Darby out of spite so you don't have him.
He belongs on Team Babyface. He is the ultimate babyface on this show, man. It's disgusting. You shouldn't be able to wear that shirt, you hypocrite. I'm cutting a heel promo on you right now. I'm going, let's do a trade. And you take him. I'll give you my whole roster for Darby. There we go. We'll see.
That'll be good. That'll be good.
So I'm glad, Bonds, this segment went a little different than I thought it was going to go, man. But like,
as Friday nights do, and I love it.
That's what's great about Fridays.
It's leading to a segment that I'm geeking out about next week. I know Bonds is going to be having a whole spreadsheet and all sorts of stuff together. He'll have some sort of like comments on the side for every guy, and you'll find some way to create a rating system where it'll be based on points, and you'll like come up with an average of where they should be slotted based on youth, promo ability. You'll have like 10 categories you rank. I know how you are.
You guys should have seen my Dynasty League list. I had 362 players total or something like that for my Dynasty League, and we went like 5 rounds. So it wasn't even that ridiculous. But there was 32 teams. At least I got, I had to do what I had to do. But
32 teams. F that.
yeah, it was
Oh,
a lot.
That's crazy.
But I
I'm
love
with you.
where
That's a
our
great
heads are at
pick,
with
Pen
this,
Pen.
guys.
Those are great picks right there, no doubt.
We're in a good headspace with this because I think that with this draft coming up now that we have, we're going to be having to really pay attention to like who the future is, who you want to build, because you don't want to just draft a bunch of guys that are big names. You want to draft some guys that are the future as well. And a guy that I think is really hitting some strides here, especially this week, is Ricky Starks. And I just think this is really interesting.
Bonds, you gotta wait for 1 second.
Yeah.
Go ahead, SPD.
Hold on. I got to cue it up.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. We'll wait.
Okay.
We'll wait. Everybody hydrate. Hydrate. All right, Bonds. I know that you have a lot to say. You've been like. Let's be real, folks. A lot of you out there can be excited about what happened at Fighter Fest. A lot of you out there can cheer and get all geek, pretend like you've been invested in this Team Taz feud as much as Bonds has been. Let's not get it twisted. There are a lot of you out there who were complaining online about this feud and wanting it to be over with. And Bonds saw that this was a moment. The destruction of this group as we know it needed to be in front of fans.
Yeah.
And we thought it was needed to be in front of fans because of Brian Cage, right? But it got whoa, we are what is going on? I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. It was so great that this was in front of fans because fans changed the way this entire match felt.
Yeah.
By cheering Ricky Starks the entire time.
What did fans do?
Dirtbag.
What did fans do?
They change the landscape.
Yeah, they take away all the best heels. You guys,
what does
Excalibur
always say?
I feel like I'm the farm system. This is BS.
You're the Cleveland Indians right now.
Yeah, I am. I'm like the Cleveland Indians. Thank you. It's a great comparison.
Excalibur always have to say Excalibur.
Give the people what they want. You're right.
Got to give the people what they want.
You're right. You meatball. Oh, all right. So Bonds.
Yeah.
Anybody who reads the column every week, and if you don't, I don't know. I mean, it's
get your head
what
checked.
Are you doing? And please, guys out there, let's keep. We're vibing. I want to mention this before we get too deep into it because we're talking about liking the column and all that.
Yeah.
We have a big thing coming up. All Out. Dynamite Download is going to be at All Out weekend. We're going to be at Rampage. We're going to be at All Out. Who knows what will be going on with Team Taz by that time, guys. This thing has been blowing up. But we're going to have some giveaways. We're going to have some meetups planned. I don't know. Any of you guys out there are going to be at All Out weekend. We would love to meet up with the fans.
Live show and maybe
live show.
Hotel, whoever shows up.
Dynamite Download is going to be in there, rocking it, representing. I promised SPD that I would get a Darby Express going down the down the steps.
Congo line.
Getting the Congo line. If you want to be a part of the Congo line with Crate Team Heel, baby, we'll be doing it all over the arena. But Bonzi, let's get back on track. I'm sorry, I just was excited because
you're good, dude.
When I hear that authentic reaction to what Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. I know there's a lot of Powerhouse Hobbs fans out there. That dude is quickly becoming one of the more fun guys to see just bully people. It's just a blast to watch him just manhandle people. It's refreshing to see as a team heel guy. To see a big man, a big heel, absolutely throw people around. That's needed more in wrestling, folks. I miss you, Brock Lesnar. Bonds.
Yeah.
You are Mr. Team Taz. Take it away, my friend.
Guys, what was with this crowd reaction with Ricky Starks? It was so interesting and cool. I don't know if I've ever in a long time see a crowd just completely change the landscape of what I think a feud is doing. They re-landscaped everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
Venus style.
Yes. Yes. And
I miss those commercials.
yeah,
I
they
miss
didn't
those.
have it back on
They
Wednesday.
Venus
I was
razored
bummed.
the crowd Venus lasered that feud.
Team Taz, you just got Venus razored, baby.
You just got Venus razored.
Your landscape
Bikini
just
season.
got changed. That's so freaking funny, man.
Oh man,
That's great.
But Ricky Starks, guys, like this looked like it was gonna be a moment for Brian Cage to be babyface, going into that
Brian.
range. Yep. I feel it though, Brian. I feel
Bonds,
it.
You just said like it felt like Brian Cage. You felt like, oh man, it felt like he could be the next big babyface. And I was thinking the same thing. Now that we were kind of like our whole world was turned around at Fyter Fest.
Yeah, Bizarro World.
Are you starting?
WrestleMania?
Are you like? There's no way that they continue to lean into Ricky Starks being the baby, or they just make him a popular. Like they lean into those. They as a crayfish specialty. Let's all lean into the fact that Ricky Starks can be like DMD. He can walk that fine line between being a heel and a babyface and do it with perfection. It's why discourage people from wanting to root for a guy like this? We all see what this guy can do. SPD, he was your pick for Breakout Star of the Year this year at our end of the year awards. And I see why. I mean, this guy coming back from an injury, he looked like he was ready on a big stage to take over. But man, what a great look at those predictions. Love those.
Talk about leading a company. These three could, and it's funny how we saw obviously Thunder main event, and then obviously things switched, and it wasn't
Man, we are pretty good at this. I think we're pretty good at this.
Yeah, it's July, and Ricky was kind of been out of it, and now we're gonna see the second half. It's going to be interesting to revisit our end of year awards at the end of the year of what we did, best match, top babyface, top heel, top male, top female, and then just check our breakout stars and see how they lined up. But,
share that screenshot on Twitter, Bonds. Take a screenshot of that. Let's get that out on there on Twitter, folks. We've got a lot of great interactions with Thunder Rosa and Brian Rosa. They're phenomenal people. And it's really cool to see what Mission Pro Wrestling has been doing in AEW. I think let's talk. Ricky Starks to me, it's hard not when you see a guy who can cut promos like him.
It's hard to root against a guy like that.
Exactly. He's just a blast to watch on the screen, and that's why Britt Baker became so popular too. Right when you just and I think it's another compliment to a guy like MJF because he's so good at what he does that you would think he would fall into that same trap of being so good as a heel that he would become a babyface. MJF that's not gonna happen with MJF anytime soon, folks. I don't see MJF becoming a good guy anytime soon. So
I don't think he'll ever become a good guy. And there's those people who have never become babyfaces, and it works. And I really can't see it.
Hey, let's cheers to that. Let's cheers to heels and baby faces around the world coming together. We need each other. Iron sharpens iron.
Right.
We all need each other, folks. Let's all cheers to another good weekend. SPD, I know this is where you get to tell us that you have to work tomorrow. Go ahead.
My weekends are Mondays and Tuesdays, bro.
All right. Hey, man. Mondays and Tuesdays. That's nice. Good for you.
You get to watch Raw. There you go.
Yeah, let's talk about
years.
Raw. Let's talk about Raw.
Well, speaking of
SPD,
all these,
why don't we talk about Raw?
Talk about Raw.
And now all of a sudden we have no viewers. All right, guys.
Oh, dang.
No.
We're down under 1 million viewers.
Sorry, guys.
We're not going to the full dark side.
We know that AEW won the battle in the demos this week. We don't want to lose any of you guys out there. Bonds, I'm going to throw it to you real quick. Wrap up your thoughts on the FTW championship. Ricky Starks, Brian Cage. You didn't really get a chance to to give us your full thoughts on that. And then let's transition into this because it sounds like SPD is more than happy to let you and I talk about what's going on Raw for a little bit and how that compares to what we're seeing on AEW. And the SPD
talk about that at the end,
bro. No, let's be real.
It's very relevant.
SPD, let's be real, man. Like really quick. It is important to acknowledge the other side once in a while. And let's acknowledge the company that really made us all wrestling fans. Let's be respectful to them in that regard, right? Like we all love our favorites from WWF back when we were kids.
Yeah.
And we did our Mount Rushmore. How many of them were from WWF?
All of them.
Well, there was no other. Well,
I mean,
there were a lot of guys that went both ways, if you know what I mean, and I think you do.
I do. Here's to
going both ways.
Going both ways. My point is, at WWF, when they know how to do things well, WWE now, they can be so great. Their roster is so loaded with talent.
Of course.
And so, that's why we love AEW so much, is because it does feel like, wow, thank God we don't. I mean, to me, I don't know about you guys, but I literally thank God now that I don't have to sit there and fast forward through Raw to get my weekly wrestling content.
Yeah.
It's so nice to have Dynamite around, guys. It's so nice to have AEW around.
Right.
So Bonds, one of the things I know that you're most excited about with AEW's changing of the landscape is this change in the FTW title. So take it away, man. Tell us what you thought.
Well, I think it's really smart what they're doing here because, especially with the crowd reaction, they had him go over in Texas, where Ricky's from. The crowd was super behind it. And I think they should lean into it. I think that Ricky Starks, man,
next week, why not?
He's got, he could say, hey, Brian Cage, you're the good guy and they're rooting for me. I think that would be really interesting and a good storyline. But the reason I brought this up is because of the WWE and what we're seeing on Raw, at least the rumors this week.
Rumors.
So, hey, this is confirmed, guys. This isn't confirmed. Rumor.
Spoiler alert. Booking by Bonds.
Yeah, insider trading going on. But we might be seeing Goldberg return again.
Wow, cool.
He's going to be potentially fighting Bobby Lashley at the Summerfest, as Jeremy Piven likes to call it. The Summerfest. And that's going to be another match where he's in the main event for the title and he's 60 years old. And,
Tell us about it, Bonds. Yeah.
AEW gets called WCW a lot.
Yeah.
And
WWE has become WCW.
Yes, that's where I'm going with this. We just listed 8 people that are young, up and coming people. There's people we've even talked about that are just they're 25 years old that are going to be in AEW for 15 years is top talent.
Yep.
Marco Stunt.
There's just a ton, right?
When Marco Stunt turns heel, that dude is going to be huge, bro.
It's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge.
We're talking Sammy Guevara, Britt Baker, Hangman, MJF, Darby Allin. You can go on and on and on.
Jungle Boy.
We just had Jungle Boy in a main event.
You got to name Jungle Boy in that snare trap, homeboy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But the difference is that at a pay-per-view or a big match, they'll have Jungle Boy in the main event, getting popular, growing against somebody like Kenny Omega. Who grows in a match where 45-year-old Bobby Lashley is wrestling 69-year-old Goldberg
great
for the title?
Great point.
How does that improve the company? And yes, maybe they'll get great buys for a pay-per-view with Goldberg because people are like, oh man, I love the 90s. I love 1997. Great year.
Yep.
But in 5 years.
It was a great year, man.
Yeah. It was great. I was 4.
90, awesome. The 90s were great, dude.
The 90s were great. The Ninja Turtles were at full go.
I think 90s
were stuff.
The 90s were awesome, dude.
They were.
It's a transition. This is just a publicity. This is a publicity buy rate match.
Come on, guys.
But
and it's a lose-lose. Clearly, they don't have an idea for storyline for Bobby Lashley.
But how do they not? The roster, they have like the roster is bigger than anybody's in the world. They've got the best wrestlers on the planet.
True.
And they're bringing some guy.
Some of.
To be fair, yes, some of.
AEW's got quite the roster, bro.
Man, they have so many guys that they just refuse to push, but they'll bring back Goldberg instead of building a story. And he's coming out of nowhere. If this is true, what we're seeing, or what's being said on the internet, which that's potentially not accurate.
Everything's true on the internet. Come on.
Yeah, if you read it on the internet, it has to be true.
But fair enough. But it's being widely reported this is what's going to happen.
Well,
and
let's jump in, right?
It's frustrating
because Bonds, I could tell, man, you were fired up about this, and rightfully so. I think you make a great point, right? Is that who is benefiting from that when your world champion is having that kind of matchup, right? And you see the same thing with you're seeing Edge as a main eventer as well, and I love Edge. I think he's got a lot to offer still, but. I get what you're saying. Okay. I get it. But I think that like what we need to look at here is Team Dynamite Download. Team Dynamite Download. Okay. Team Dynamite Download. We always try to look for the silver lining in a dark cloud. And what I see happening is the same thing I saw when WWF and WCW were at a war, that a lot of frustrated talent started to jump ship. And you are starting to see how that and when those talents were pivotal to WWF becoming to winning that war. Let's be real about that. The Eddie Guerreros, the Chris Jerichos, Benoit, you can go on and on of talents that came over from WCW. Mike Awesome. Yeah. So, but no, I mean, Booker T came over. I mean, there was a lot of talent that came over. But I feel like what's happening right now with AEW, you're seeing a lot of these Malachi Black, Andrade, John Moxley and Jericho are some of the OGs, right? Those are some of the originals that did this. There's a lot of that mixture of that on the roster, but they're paired with youth. And I think that's what Bonds is so passionate about is if you're going to try to build a company, not just you got to look at this as you're running a company. We all got that game right now, right? The All Elite General Manager. Okay, guys, download that app. I have it too. Let's hook up. We can talk about our rosters.
There's your fantasy draft practice right there, bro.
You know it. I'm already getting practice in. Okay. But my point being is if you're going to be your own general manager, you have to look at a balance of ratings now and health for the future.
Yep.
How am I producing now and gaining viewers and making sure I'm giving the best possible product? Because if I'm Tony Khan, I would have a really hard time resisting the urge of just booking Pac versus Kenny Omega every week. Right. It would just be man, that sounds great. Let's do that again. Because they're just going to kill it every week. Right. So you have to resist that urge and you have to invest in your future. And we're seeing countless examples of that happening in AEW. And I think that's why it's such a breath of fresh air and why we as Dynamite Download, as fans of AEW, WWE, they can talk about their own, let's be honest, dude. Let's let them handle their own issues. AEW right now, we can complain we can have a whole show about picture in picture, guys. So everybody, if you live in a glass house, don't throw stones. The way I look at things, though, from a storyline standpoint and from a company health standpoint, I think AEW is building their company as a smart business model that you have bona fide superstars now and you're investing in the future. And I think there's a couple feuds that really reflect that. Really, I mean, you could talk about them across the board. You could think about the Pinnacle and the inner circle, how there's a blend of youth and experience in that feud. You could talk about, for me, the most evident example of that emerged from Dynamite this week at Fyter Fest was the 5-on-5 matchup between the Elite and the Dark Order. You're seeing the Elite, the guys who have been established, who are the top dogs, going in and they're going to have this epic showdown
I want to talk in depth about that.
Let's do it, bro.
But first,
Let's do it.
I got something to say about the Team Taz thing. I'm curious of your guys' thoughts on, weeks ago. Well, even before that, we were all Team Brian Cage and still are of babyface push. Now that the crowd has all this to say about Ricky Starks, if the signs are still aligned and plans aligned for Brian Cage to be this babyface push, do you think the crowd being so hot for Starks is going to squash Brian Cage and not accept Brian Cage as this babyface? Do you think they won't? You don't think maybe he won't get the response that we expect him to get in order to elevate him to a top babyface?
Yep.
What do you think about that?
Personally, I think
up a hill battle that's unobtainable, or do you think he can get over the hump?
I don't think it's unobtainable. I think that he needs to maybe change some stuff he does in the ring.
Right. Yeah, man. I think so. I think you're right.
Because even this past week, he was pulling up Ricky Starks and doing all that stuff, and it's like that's a heel thing to do. You're kind of sending mixed messages here. Like if you're gonna want to like kind of go over and like switch to babyface, you can't really do that. You can't taunt your opponent like that. You know what I mean? There's things that just make it easier to root for you. And if you want the crowd to get on your side, especially when they're so hot for the other guy, being a more stereotypical babyface would make that easier. I just think it might be hard if it's just with Ricky Starks. It might be difficult because Brian Cage is so much bigger than him.
Right.
And I think that the way to do it, if they're going to fix it and make it so it's not just, okay, Ricky Starks is going to be the guy we push now, they have to get Hobbs involved more. They have to get Hobbs involved, and maybe they'll scrap it. I mean, I don't know. I hope they don't, because they've been setting it up for months with a bunch of stuff he's been doing. But
I don't think that. I think it's going to pivot. I think that what's like what I'm seeing, like I would love to see Powerhouse Hobbs step in and Hobbs have a feud with Cage.
That'd be cool. But would he be the babyface in that feud either? Like, you know what I mean? With the crowd root for Hobbs.
A lot of people.
What if there's an
ultimate
swerve? Team Taz goes baby, and Cage stays heel.
That'd be interesting.
Hey, SPD, can I ask you a question?
What?
How desperate are you over there at Team Babyface? Like every single top babyface you want to establish, like, be off of my roster. Like, how many guys are you trying to poach? You're trying to take the DMD.
No, but I mean,
you took the inner circle. How many people? Like, how many people are you going to take from me, bro?
Could you see Team Taz as a babyface?
No. Well, I mean, let's be honest. We thought we thought Powerhouse Hobbs, when he debuted,
would it not work as good as a heel?
He had a great babyface story, right? I don't know, man. I think we'll see what happens. I think there's some comments out there in the chat. It's true. Ricky Starks, he's got that hometown reaction in Texas, and I think
Lance Archer, a big reaction.
I think Lance Archer is going to get a big reaction too at that Texas death match in Dallas. I think Lance Archer is going to really come out, and there's people are going to be behind him, right? So let's pause on the Team Taz talk for a little bit. Bonds, right. I know you could literally talk the whole show about that group. I know, but I think it'll be interesting to see what Starks is able to do outside of Texas. Let's pause for a little bit. Let's see see
the reaction.
Because let's be real, dude.
Let's see the reaction in North Carolina.
Beautiful, perfect, well done.
I'll have a drink to that.
My point being there, Bonds, is when you look at like Starks, right? How he won that title. What Team Taz did was not babyface, guys.
Correct.
Come on. So just because Starks got a pop in his hometown, basically,
it's a huge pop.
Let's pump the brakes before you guys start taking another heel from my team and putting him on your. I mean, is this how our draft is going to go, SPD? Are you just going to have me draft your roster and then just try to take everyone from my team onto your team?
King of finagling
My God,
drafts, bro. You are the king of like, take this guy, take Janela, take Sonny Kiss.
Well, you know, I'm going to be talking to you all week about how much you love the wingmen. The top 3, no doubt.
I do love the wingmen.
I know.
We all do it. We all like
the wingmen are great.
Let's talk 5-on-5 because this segment on Dynamite was my favorite segment of the night. Because
and this is why, SPD, when we showed those top 5 rankings, I was like, I thought for sure you were going to notice right away Hangman Adam Page, the number 1 contender. You were like creaming your undies every time you get to see Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page interacting right now. You love this feud. You are eating it up. Kenny Omega has a little treat in his hand, a little treat for you, and you always come and nibble out of his hand. Oh, so good, Kenny. You love Kenny. He has you eaten out of the palm of his hand, and now the way this feud is going, I know Bonds is just grinning ear to ear because his column, you know, he talks a lot about it, man. Don Callis, when he came out and started talking the talk against Hangman.
Whoa. You talk too much, Hangman.
Oh, man. All hat and no cattle.
Before we dive into this segment,
well, that's why
I want you to right off the top, like, who's he going to pick? Who do you think Hangman's going to pick?
That's tough.
Obviously 10.
I didn't mean to derail you because I just wanted to hear you wax poetic about how much you love this feud.
All right,
this is your favorite feud.
I think
let us think about it while you talk about how much you love this feud, how much you love that segment, and where. I mean, dude, like, how would you book it? I mean, like, because we love the Dark Order. We love the Dark Order here at Dynamite Download. We've been Dark Order fans. And you know, join Dark Order in January. If you haven't checked out our interview with Alex Reynolds and John Silver, both great interviews. I mean, to this day, I still think about some of the conversations I had with Alex Reynolds.
Right.
Guy, it was just a joy to hear him talk about wrestling, and right. So a lot of great. I mean, we desperately. I live right near Clare, Michigan. I know there's some people out there who are watching this show. Clare, Michigan is the home of Preston Vance. You know, not a lot of big stories out of Clare. It's a small town in the middle of Michigan. There's a lot of people that you can just easily get behind the Dark Order, and that's why they are the home team of AEW. SPD, tell us about your thoughts on this feud, about how you reacted to Dynamite, because we didn't get a chance to talk about that much with Bonds. And then Bonds and I will give you who we would pit to get against in that ultimate 5-on-5 matchup. You guys out there, give Bonds and I your thoughts, because you know Crayfish over here. SPD, I hope that you have a whole thesis, because I need as much time as possible. I'm having a hard time narrowing down my picks as usual.
Well, I mean, this segment for sure was absolutely my favorite segment of the night. I was literally like pretty much fist pumping in the air. I was like one thing after another, just stretching it out, because I was afraid when I was reading between the lines when Kenny was like, I don't have an opponent for a fight for the fallen. And I was like, please do not rush this Hangman thing. Please.
You've been begging for that.
All out.
You have.
Please do not do that, because, you know, like when Inner Circle Pinnacle did Blood and Guts, I was kind of like surprised, but it's all making sense now. So keep the long payoff. It's a perfect transition for the Young Bucks to feud with the Dark Order. So obviously Hangman and the Dark Order have to take the W. And so then you talk booking. It makes sense to me, and I'm agreeing with most of you in the chat. Obviously, Hangman and 10, you know, are pretty good buddies. They've teamed together before. It'd be great to have Silver back in the ring.
No doubt.
I love Silver and Reynolds.
Silver can come back. Oh,
Silver will be back, and Silver and Reynolds, we love them as a team. But I would agree with most of you, 10, Silver, Uno, and Stu. So then you can pivot Uno and Stu against the Young Bucks and kind of protect Silver and Reynolds, because I think they are more, to me, the top team of Dark Order for tag teams, in my opinion, at least.
Bonds, do you agree with that?
Maybe you could then just continue Uno and Stu as a competitor for the tag team titles, and then John Silver and Reynolds, maybe they'll get a chance as well to take gold off them. It would be really cool to do a clean sweep if you had Kenny Omega lose the title. Yep.
It looks a lot like changing.
You could have a clean sweep. Dark.
Everybody out there, you guys doing these with us? Come on, get that sweep.
The cleaner is going to be swept, and so I don't know. It's hard to see. I could definitely see Hangman taking the gold off of Kenny, but it's hard to find anyone taking the gold off the Young Bucks to me. So, but this feud, Dark Order backing up Hangman this whole time, man. I'm absolutely loving everything about it, man. It's really gold, and it's gonna stretch it out. It just keeps stretching it out.
Come on, SPD.
Ultimately, we have less than 2 months till All Out, and so you can stretch this out. Clearly, next week is not going to be anything like that. We'll get another segment probably. We're not going to get anything. Then maybe Fight for the Fallen. They'll main event this 5-on-5. Okay, yes, you can build it next week and then have that be the main event. And then that leads to the title shot. Maybe do you wait till All Out for the tag team title shot, or do you do that in between as another main event and then ultimately have the world championship be the main event All Out, like a pre-announced? AEW typically historically doesn't have, months in advance announced main events like WWE does. Like, oh, you win Royal Rumble in January, you're main eventing WrestleMania 3 months later. Like, oh gosh, we got to watch the same shit over and over again for 3 months. AEW typically is like a month out, we start to see the card kind of develop. 2 weeks out, it's fully developed. It's not that far in advance, it's pretty cool because you never know. This less than 2 months could be slowly stretched out. When we go Fight to the Fallen, that's a month and a half or less. You could even put both matches on the card. Tag team titles. Oh, we're going to do this at All Out. World Championship, we're going to do it all
out. That's what's going to happen. I cannot wait to be there for Hangman versus Kenny Omega at All Out.
Oh boy, shit.
So the crowd is going to how drunk I'm gonna get? I'm gonna be so hammered, and I'm gonna go ape shit for that. People are gonna be cheering for the Hangman. That is gonna be the most fun night of our lives, guys. We're gonna kill it.
Kenny, but who is gonna cheer for Kenny?
Nobody. Kenny's gonna get his. Kenny's gonna get his, man. That's gonna be an awesome match.
Practice weekends of screaming for like 5 hours straight. Just when you're doing yard work, I want you to just scream, "Pull the weeds! Pull the weeds! No, chop the wood! Chop it! The wood!" I want you to just constantly do that. Cut the grass!
Yeah. Stress Mrs. Crayfish out super hard.
That's exactly what a pregnant wife needs.
Just practice your screaming for All Out.
Stressed her out a lot more than she already.
We don't want to happen what happened at Dynamite. So
that was the most disappointing. Talk about. That was like a Jim moment from American Pie. I felt like I was like, it just. I was so geeked to be there and so excited to start cheering that I lost my voice before Dynamite even started.
You screwed.
It was like you opened your mouth and like it was a balloon.
And I literally went through like 40 lifesavers trying to get my voice back. Didn't happen. But Bonds, getting back to the topic on hand, this is the question. This is the ultimate question. This is the feud that SPD is most excited about. He wants AEW.
This is my second favorite feud. Inner Circle Pinnacle is still top.
Yeah, but I think Inner Circle's Pinnacle is at a different stage of the feud.
Right, as of right now.
Right? Like, I feel like the Elite versus Dark Order, Kenny versus Hangman I think it's going to be more long term in the distance than this one. AEW, I feel like they're going to be doing some things to wrap things up at All Out between Kenny or between the Pinnacle and Inner Circle. At All Out, I do think that by the time we get there, I think that's going to happen. But I think that Hangman versus Kenny I think Hangman's winning that night. I'm going to get hammered drunk. I'm going to have a great time, cheer on Hangman winning. Bonds, do you see that happening too?
Yes. I think that once you have Hangman against Kenny, you have to have Hangman go over on Kenny. You have to do it. Because if Hangman doesn't go over on Kenny, who beats Kenny?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Nobody else, like, they haven't built anybody else for it. Like, what do you do? So that makes sense. It works. It's a great storyline. It's organic. They've been working on it for a year. Just do it. Roll with it. Let him have the belt and see how far he can go.
Yep.
I think that's what you got to do. You just got to give him that opportunity. See if he can be that guy, and if he can, then you have a star for 10 years.
He can. He can. I mean,
he clearly can. But
he can. And
you never know until you have the strap, though. You never know.
That's a good point.
Like that changes how you're perceived. So I think that like it'll be his first run with the belt, and we'll see if he can be that guy. You know, because there's been a lot of guys that we've said, hey man, that guy's got that potential, and he doesn't end up being what we expected him to be. We had a topic about that, about guys we thought could be guys that didn't end up being that. And I don't think Hangman's that. I don't at all. Like, don't get me wrong, but I do think that we have to see how he is with the belt. If he is able to do that every single week, able to go out there and be that guy, be the face of the company, and if he can do that, then this was all worth it. This whole feud, all the storylines, it just all worked out super well. And I'm really excited to see if that's what they're going to do. And that's what they should do.
Strike while the iron's hot.
Exactly.
Bonds, I think that you said that very, very well. You know, I do think it's easy to want to anoint people like, oh, that guy could be champ. That guy could easily be champ. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've in my mind I've made the Bastard the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, and he's not the champion for a reason right now. And I get it. Kenny Omega is, and you know, there's a lot of pressure being Kenny Omega.
He delivers every week. That's why he's the man.
Yeah, dude. I mean, think about what he means to the landscape of professional wrestling. Think about what Kenny Omega means to pro wrestling. Not just to us fans here at AEW, but all over the world. You know, Kenny Omega has really changed pro wrestling, and you can hate him for some of the changes that he's brought, but I also think that, like, because you listen to the critics like Jim Cornette and stuff like that, and some of the criticism is valid. You know, having a match with a blow up doll or like a little kid. Some of those things are valid criticisms and do hurt the business that some of those old school guys, like, you know, I love FTR. FTR would never have a match, like a believable match with a blow up doll, right?
Who had a match with a blow up doll?
Kenny Omega did.
Kenny, yeah.
When?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like,
when and why?
Well, he had a match with a little girl. It was like, I know he had one with a little girl. You know, there's just like, and he like put over her offense and stuff. I mean, Kenny is known for doing some things that are silly, and SPD, you don't like,
that's
you don't
WWE
know
style.
No, but you don't know all the silliness that happens around the profession, like Joey Ryan's of the world, where people are putting over offense of a guy's penis. You know, it's just like, what are we talking about here? What are we doing?
Right.
You know, and that's why I think, like, you know, Kenny Omega has a lot of critics out there, and some of their criticism.
But what he's doing now, that's not fair, because what he's doing now is great.
And that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Him leaning into the Triple H facial hair, kind of almost I feel like he's almost cosplaying Triple H at his
parodying
prime.
Him.
He's almost a parody of Triple H when he was the Game. I am the Game.
I hope he comes out dressed as Terminator it all out.
I feel like he almost is doing a little bit of that, and I like that, and I think that all of us here, and this is one of the reasons why I was so excited to talk to you guys more about this on Friday night, because, you know, Dynamite download on Wednesdays, we got to keep it tight, man. We got to keep it tight. SPD Friday night, we can get a little looser and get into things a little bit more, and
drinks.
That reminds me, I need a refill.
Yeah,
I'm listening. I'm just getting some
Stay
ice.
hydrated. Stay hydrated.
As Brian says, always. I'm listening.
Always hydrate. No, I feel like, you know, it's easy to overlook the pressure that comes with that position.
Yeah.
And Kenny has done done an admirable job as champion. And I think that the Elite have done an admirable job of champion. Us here at Dynamite Download, nothing makes me happier than seeing our entire group, the group of positive, uplifting coverage of AEW, all love and adore the total heels of the Elite, the scumbag, dirtbag cheaters of the Elite. I know that Sharonica is out there rolling her eyes because Crayfish is loving himself some Young Bucks. I love
the best tag team in the world.
Hey, I'm not gonna go that far. There's
FTR
always
pretty good too.
There's always an asterisk, bro. Because it's so subjective, man. Any given moment, if you told me who's your favorite tag team in the world, I would tend to lean FTR. Lean into it. But dude, I love so many talented teams.
There's a lot of great tag teams.
But yeah, man. I mean, that's my the Elite are truly hitting. Like their segments, I know there was a period where we were starting to get I know Bonds, especially the Bucks, you were starting to get oh my God, this is awful. What are we sitting through right now? All the branding, that you didn't quite understand the trolling that was happening at the time that Brandon Cutler and the referees, these awful refs. But now it's all come together, and you see it, funny. And you're wow, this is hilarious. And I think that the Elite have shown the template for what it means to carry the company as a champion. Who's the next there was a thing going around on social media, and I know that this is a fan question that came up. So let's get into that, a couple of those tonight, fellas. One of the questions that came up was if you had to pick the next 3 champions in a row.
Gosh, that's hard.
For the world title, the tag title, the TNT title, and the women's title, what would those be? So we won't answer all of those tonight.
Let's do world title this week, and then we'll do it once a week.
Exactly. This week it feels very natural. We're talking Kenny and Hangman. Yeah. We already all agree. Hangman here at Dynamite Download. SPD, nod your head if you agree that Hangman's going to beat Kenny Omega. Can you nod your head?
Unanimous for.
Do you have danglies in? Can you put some danglies in for that head nod? No danglies in tonight.
I need Amanda to give me some. Oh wait, here we go.
Amanda, get some danglies. Amanda, oh my God, there you go. Love it. Love it. Love it.
All right, so
who would be your next 3 champions in a row?
Okay.
Just to set some. Well, we got to set some ground rules for next week. We got to limit our draft to 2 tag teams.
I like that.
2 or 3. We got to pick 2 or 3.
How many rounds? 10?
We have 10. If we have 10 rounds, I think 3 might be a little much.
But
I disagree.
It's a company of tag teams.
Fair.
Well,
but then you run into the gray area of Jungle Boy.
Bonds, I agree with you. Actually, I think 2 tag teams is fair. I think 2 tag teams is fair because right now with injuries to Butcher and Blade, you're gonna have a hard time picking them. Jungle Boy feels like he's kind of, although he is still with Luchasaurus, he kind of feels like you're gonna pick Jack Perry.
If you get to pick Team Taz, then you're getting
you
can't studs.
So
no, you can't pick stables. You're picking tag team.
Okay.
Tag teams and singles.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And how are we gonna determine rankings? And how are you getting out of this question, by the way?
No, I mean, all right, we'll have a sidebar all week of figuring out the rules.
Come on, Pee-wee.
Anyway,
come on, Pee-wee.
The next 3 world champions.
Next 3 world heavyweight champions.
I already have mine. I'm just waiting on you guys. Go?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you got it, I gotta develop.
Hangman Page will beat Kenny Omega at All Out, and we're gonna go nuts. And then MJF is gonna win the World Championship.
I was thinking that too, actually. So.
And Sammy Guevara is going to take the belt off of him. And those are my next 3 world champions.
Wow. SPD, do you agree?
Mine was more
because I think he just kind of stole
everybody.
The template.
I kind of had 2 swerves.
Yeah.
No, I'll just talk about one. But yeah, I mean, of course, Hangman. And I was for sure agree with the MJF, but I was thinking more along the lines of Chris Jericho, like kind of one last run.
That'd be cool. I like that.
Taking it from MJF, like one last run. Like obviously there's still stuff left in the tank, but I think it would be pretty cool to have Jericho have one last run after that.
I like that.
That's surprising. I actually kind of like that. I think it would be great to see Jericho have that opportunity to be the first ever two-time world heavyweight champion. I think that two-time. And then I would love for him to take over in the commentary booth and dominate on that because he's amazing in that role.
I can't wait for him to do commentary full time. I can't wait.
Put JR on special assignment and put Jericho on commentary. But I don't want it to be like his last run would be great, but I don't want it to be like a retirement match or anything stupid stipulation like that. But
it would be his last good title run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His last one was fantastic.
Right.
I mean, like if that was it, that's okay. But I think like you can like kind of prepare yourself to like having that last one again.
I think he's shown that he still has enough in the tank to have another title run where he's still taken like seriously as the champion. Like he's the guy that is he's a legend, man. And Chris Jericho deserves that. I mean, he's the kind of guy that deserves to have like another reign at least before it's all said and done. I feel
you could even do a TNT, because
that'd be cool.
The Demo God,
I think Jericho would kind of love that too, because it's like, think about all the different titles Jericho's had over the course of his career, man. Like this dude has had so many different championships over the course of his like 30 years now in the business. Like that's just amazing.
We gotta buy his book.
The List of Jericho, man. We do. We hear Dynamite download. That would be.
We can do a. We should do a reading of the List of Jericho.
Did you just make the list?
I've been on the list for a while, and
have you?
It's an honor.
Yeah, because you fart so much.
All right, so Crayfish, your picks.
My picks are right here. I'm with you.
Nice.
I'm with you.
There we go.
I see it, and I get like Sammy Guevara being the third pick. I get it, but
I think both of our picks make sense for storyline.
I think the Jungle Boy MJF. We've seen the Sammy Guevara. We're seeing it now, right? We're seeing it now. We're seeing
Level
the Sammy.
up.
You're seeing the Sammy Guevara MJF story right now. MJF versus Jungle Boy would be a lot of fun, and I think at that point, where Jungle Boy could be, that's really important, guys. Because
he'll be Jungle Jack by then.
Yeah, he needs to be Jungle Jack. He needs to he's not ready right now. He's not. He's not ready to be. He's not ready to be world champion, and I truly think that. It's okay to say that about a kid and recognize that he has the potential to become that. And I think that that's how I feel about him. I think that, this was a great opportunity for him to have that match against Hangman or against Kenny Omega. And I think
showcase.
I think that we saw some of the areas that he still needs to work on to get to that next level. And that said, I think that he showed charisma, connecting with the crowd, all the things his in-ring work is fantastic. His stamina is through the roof. The snare trap is a move that we all love. So I think that Jack Perry has that kind of potential. And I know that MJF really doesn't like Jack Perry. And I think that, if the way things continue to trend the way they're trending now, think about if you compare MJF's record, if he's the world champion at that point, what his record will be against Jack Perry. How many times does MJF wrestle?
Not often.
And how many times does Jack Perry? Jungle Boy is the first to 50 wins in the company history. So if they if at this point in time where Jack Perry is 200 wins and MJF has 40 or 50, I think it would be kind of cool for that story to kind of be around Jack being the guy who goes out there and outworks everybody, who he takes over that mantle from Christian. That's already kind of in the story right now as the guy who outworks everyone. He becomes the workhorse of AEW, a guy who by far has the most wins in company history. And at that point, he's ready to become a man. And he says, like, wait a second, like, you have this awful MJF running the show right now as the ultimate heel champ. And you have Jack Perry, who
I've got 600 wins.
Right. Like, who are you? Like he believes in himself. We get behind him almost like a Daniel Bryan vibe. I think that Jungle Boy has shown to me, and I don't want to be like sacrilegious by bringing up like Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, because I know he is one of the greatest of all time. SPD, Daniel Bryan is one of your favorites ever.
There's always another generation, man.
Jungle Boy has some things that make me feel like he could be something like that. Like just that genuine baby face, that guy we just want to root for. He's a little smaller, but he connects with the fans. He's got a great iconic entrance.
Awesome moveset.
And just everybody seems to root for this guy, right? Backstage, everybody seems to love Jungle Boy. I think that by that time, and especially if you give MJF a reign of terror, which we all know, oh my God, MJF as champion would be just off. It'd just be painful at times. Sharonica, you'd be out there crying every day. There'd be a lot of kids that would be crying. That's for sure.
He'd be making fun of a lot of people.
Yeah, sure. I just think that he'd be miserable. I think that it would make Jungle Boy that much more. And that's I think Brian. That's the difference between where he is now and where he needs to be. Jungle Boy needs to be able to develop those mic skills, and
he's getting better though.
He's getting better.
But
getting better.
All it takes is reps.
That's exactly right. He's going to get those reps. Rome was not built in a day. As
it took Roman Reigns 15 years to cut a good promo, so I think that we're going to he'll be fine. Jungle Boy will be fine.
Bonds is going in hard tonight at WWE. It's like, this is like Bonds wants to. I think that the contrast between AEW and WWE has made Bonds to a point where he just is like disgusted with the product that the competition is bringing out, and he just wants to shit on them as much as he can. You're just making jabs at them every chance you could get. My God, when we talk about the DMD later, are you going to talk about how they found a way to ruin like Bayley's reputation and Sasha?
Well, somehow they had her lose to your favorite Nia Jax, and then they never hired her. I'll talk about that with Britt Baker.
Yeah. That was cool.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, that was cool. Nice job. Yeah, well, thank God they
better
did
for
that.
us, man. Britt Baker would be doing nothing on WWE. So
thank God they did that, right?
Yeah,
and that's an example of what like sometimes the best things that happen in life are the things that don't happen at all.
Correct.
Amen.
She'd be toiling in the
I am
lower part
one
of the
smart cat. I'm a philosopher.
Philosopher crayfish. Well, they'll have books about you 200 years from now.
One day.
Philosopher crayfish.
So yeah, let's chat about that though, Bonds. Take it away.
Take it away.
I'm just throwing it to you.
We just talked about 5 things.
No, honest to God, like yeah.
Chat about it all.
Let's chat about it.
Oh yeah, but Jungle Boy, man, we'll go back to that because it's the real topic here.
No, we all we all talked about our top. This is my point. Okay, I'll since you freaking clowns, I gotta get you all together. I thought you could carry me a little bit tonight, but I guess not. So I took my wife out to a nice dinner tonight. Had a glass of wine with dinner. Things were great night. So now that I'm having a little whiskey on top of red wine, how does it get better than that?
Correct.
So I'll reel you clowns in. And we were talking about the top, like the next 3 champions, and we'll get into that, right? We just named all of our next 3 champions. If I were to throw in the IWGP title, who would be the next 3 champions? Because we have a Texas death match next week on Fyter Fest for the IWGP title. SPD has been the loyal Murder Hawk Monster. He's been a little maniac. He loves himself, Lance Archer. Bonds, I think that you always kind of get there's a soft spot in your heart for Lance Archer because I knew Vance Archer.
Right. So
And so I think that you have like a little soft, tender spot for Lance.
If we ever interview Lance, my question for Lance will be, what was the conversation with Vince about changing your name from Lance to Vance? That's the only thing I want to ask him, just because I want to know like how Vince's mind works. It's so weird to me. Like, why did you change his name? Was it because Lance Storm was on the roster?
It should be a compliment because Vince starts with V.
Yeah,
and he was willing to share the same letter as Vincent Kennedy
Vince's
McMahon.
bastard son instead of Hornswoggle.
You don't know. But let's transition into that match next week, guys. Let's reel it in for a minute here. Let's talk about Lance Archer versus Jon Moxley.
Yes,
SPD, they announced that match on Wednesday night, and we were reeling from it on the show, right? We didn't get a chance to really digest it. Now that you've had an opportunity to have barely any sleep, knowing your work schedule, now that you've been able to sleep on it for maybe 4 or 5 hours over the last couple days, what are your thoughts about Lance Archer against Jon Moxley? I went back and watched our show. We here at Dynamite Download, we're always trying to get better. Iron sharpens iron, so we're always trying to look at
great show, by the way, guys. One of the best shows so far.
Thank you.
It was great.
Thanks, bro. Thanks. And I think that if anybody is watching the show now, we're not going to talk about Penelope versus Yuka tonight, but I really am particularly proud of that segment this last week. I thought we did a great job on that, SPD. I think both of us handled that with a lot of like thought, and I was proud of how that segment came out. But focusing on this segment, I felt like post Dynamite, I was talking to a Cleveland Browns fan. I was talking to a Cleveland Browns fan who is just so sick and tired of getting his hopes up every year. It's like you had a great draft. You feel like you're going into a season feeling like, man,
we'll win 3 games.
Maybe we'll win. Maybe we'll win this year. Maybe we'll make the playoffs. And that's the story of Lance Archer. He gets these title shots and he loses. And I feel like I'm talking to a battered Cleveland Browns fan who just doesn't want to get his hopes up. You seem very hesitant on Wednesday night to believe that the Murder Hawk could walk away in Dallas. Hey, mind! Yeah, baby. Thanks for coming, man. So happy you're here. That's genuine excitement. So happy you're here, buddy. But SPD, on Wednesday night, you seemed like you were traumatized from all this what if. Man, I want Lance to win and getting your hopes up that he's going to win that title and they'll go all in and finally give him his shot. And then, oh, no, he's going to tap out. Oh, no, he lost. Oops, sorry. Oop, 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 oop. He lost. Do you see the same pattern following suit? I watched his social media and he shared the match and he says, it was just like, who's going to win? I don't know, but they're going to get your asses kicked. And I'm like, oh, Lance, you're already setting us up for you losing again, man. I don't want to hear that. I believe SPD, I believe that he's going to win next week. Am I a fool?
It's hard to picture Jon Moxley taking an L even in a stipulation match.
Why?
Because AEW clearly has protected him. How many times has he gotten pinned? Very, very rarely. He's a protected guy. And it's,
Jon Moxley.
I know. Lance, absolutely love. And I would love to see a push for Lance over a push for Mox right now, honestly, just to get to freshen things up and change the landscape. This would do Lance tenfold better than getting the win than Mox getting a win here.
What does it do for Moxley to beat Lance Archer right now? Has Lance Archer's stock ever been lower in AEW right now? Being fair,
he was my top performer, and he carried AEW for a good part of the year.
I know that, and that's why it's such a contrast to what we saw just in January and February of this year. We all here saw what that guy can do, and
I think we will all eat a peanut butter and tuna fish sandwich in
honor of Lance.
Yes,
I'm in.
I'm in. Crayfish.
I'm in. I'll do it.
Bonds.
I will eat one, and that sounds disgusting, but I'm down.
All right, good idea, mine. As long as it's not a spray tan pen.
You know,
well, I didn't have
this
to do
could be
that
a good
because guess
opportunity
what?
to turn Lance.
Guess what, baby? The DMD delivered like she always does, son. I cannot wait to talk DMD. DMD segments with Crayfish are the ratings getters here at Dynamite Download, baby. The proof is in the pudding, my friends. It is what it is. Let's go. Hey, Bonzi, let's talk.
Yeah.
So you were diving in. Let's hear it.
About DMD with that promo was awesome.
No. About SPD.
Oh, but Lance?
Yeah.
So with Lance, dude, like I think this could be a good opportunity to turn him heel.
I hear a lot of
have him turn heel, like, because he's right now he's on that cusp. He's like kind of back and forth, does some bad things, does some good things.
Interesting.
But you have him turn heel on Moxley and win that way.
What do you people out there think about Lance Archer turning heel? Tweet Lance Archer and ask him about the potential.
Hey, are you turning heel this week, Lance?
Crayfish has got his advocate booking by Bonds, booking Lance Archer's heel turn in Dallas against John Moxley. Tell us how that happens, Bonds, because you know I kind of agree with you. It feels like Lance.
He needs a direction.
This is one of the things. This is one of the things that AEW. I said it before SPD, and I know that when I say it now, you're going to remember what that night that we talked about this. You know, AEW does need to do a little bit better of a job of protecting their big men, and this is why Miro feels so special right now. Miro feels really special right now because look at what they're doing. They're protecting him. They're making him look dominant, right?
Right.
You know, they need to recognize, and when we talked to Griff Garrison, remember what he talked about with Lance Archer? He always said, like, with Lance Archer as a leader in the locker room, Griff Garrison said, you know, Lance talks to Griff and he says, you know, you're a big kid. You need to protect your image. You need to protect your aura as a big man. And Lance, unfortunately, of late has not been able to walk the walk. They have not protected Lance Archer at all. They put him in no-win situations. Why they put Godzilla versus Kong, Miro versus Lance Archer, Miro did not need to beat Lance Archer there. You could have put anybody in that match. And
it was his first match.
It was his first title defense. Put him against somebody that Miro just gets to absolutely manhandle, dominate, and be done with it. Lance, and I said it, and I feel bad, but maybe AEW is listening to us. It would be interesting. There was a Friday night fights and fights last week, Bonds. I mentioned it felt like the championship window of Lance Archer was closing.
Yes.
We all thought that Lance deserved a title run in AEW, given this man's career, given his history, given what he put on, SPD, given the show he put on for us when he was with Phoenix and he was fighting with the Death Triangle and all that, Kingston and all that stuff going on. Great stuff early in the year. They didn't even the feud with Cody when he debuted, that Caesar promo by Jake was the best thing that Jake's done in AEW. They never pulled the trigger on Lance.
No.
And it feels like to me, this is it. This is the end. Either you pull the trigger on Lance right now,
right,
in Texas for the IWGP title,
or you don't.
A belt that, again, I love about Lance Archer. He doesn't get the credit that he deserves, and this is why I think a lot of people are starting. Well, I think a lot of people are starting to see he doesn't need Jake because Lance can cut some promos on his own, guys.
Right.
This guy is a great, intelligent promo, and he talked about his history with the IWGP title. He talked about his history with John Moxley and the IWGP title, and for that to bleed over into what we're going to see next week, I think that this is do or die for Lance Archer and for AEW. Either he wins this week. Or unfortunately, I just do not see how moving forward, Lance has that credibility as a monster that he needs to be.
Yeah.
Moxley loses nothing, loses no credibility from losing that belt.
In AEW.
In AEW or in the world.
Fair.
Period.
He's a different level. Yeah, he's a different level.
Dude, you're talking about one of the absolute, I mean, let's be real
top
here,
5
man.
in the world
It's easy to, dude, wrestling and life in general with the news and life, how fast it goes by. You know, it's really easy to forget things that happened not that long ago. But Jon Moxley's title reign was like a freaking Iron Man.
Huge.
He was the freaking Iron Man of AEW. SPD, I remember you sending me that video when he had that entrance right by you. Moxley carried this company through a very tough chapter, especially as a babyface. To be a babyface where you rely on pops and to have an era where you are the world champion and you can't get pops. What a pro that man is. And as a pro, I think that Moxley needs to step back and recognize the big picture here. Lance Archer needs the title. Needs to win next week. He needs this win. Or else Dude. Lance might not even get picked in our draft next week if that ends up happening. If he loses against Moxley, where is his momentum? Because I feel like the big man, I'm all in, and that's why I'm not worried. I think that Lance is going to beat Moxley this week, and I think that you're gonna pick him in the second. You're gonna pick him top 3 because he's gonna be the IWGP champion. SPD, you're picking Lance Archer in first round.
For those of you who are just joining us, thank you. First off, second, we decided, improv way, that next week on Friday Night Flights and Fights, we are going to do a mock draft.
Will be a real draft. This will be a draft.
10 superstar draft.
Inspired by the new game, the General Manager game.
By Team Dynamite Download. Each of us are going to pick first, we're going to pick who gets first, second, and third pick. And then throughout the week, we're going to figure out the stipulations. We've agreed upon 2 tag teams, no stables, singles wrestler. We don't know if we're going to do snake style draft or what, but
snake makes sense because we're going to be doing random.
We're going to do auction.
10 players, so 10 players, not players. 10 superstar draft, and then we're going to throw it out to the universe and see whose team, SPDs, Bonds, or Crayfish,
Team Heel, baby, for life,
the best. So. That's going to be fun next week. So all week
I'm going all
thinking
in
about
on
it.
those heels.
Crayfish is going to be doing about 5,000 mock drafts because he overanalyzes it.
I'll be having spreadsheets.
I'm already working on my board as we speak.
What day do we want to draw? No, I think to spice it up, let's draw live. Who picks first, second, and third?
Wednesday, yes.
No, on Friday.
No.
Yes.
I think we need time. That's not because that's why the NBA has a draft lottery. Come on, dude. Let's get Wednesday night.
Go on a whim.
Wednesday night on Dynamite Download. We will announce we will do it live on Wednesday night, Dynamite Download, to start the show next week. We get our draft
3-man Dynamite Download next week.
3-man Dynamite Download. The SP. So Bonds, you booking by Bonds fanboys out there. I know there's an audience out there that loves Bonds' perspective, and it's great to see. But he'll be joining us next week.
All right.
We will pick our draft order live on Wednesday, which then gives me time to do my mock drafts on Thursday and Friday morning, and prep for all the different scenarios because you guys keep me on my heels. I never know. And guys, the inner marks, I'm on Twitter all the time. Guys, please DM me. Please DM me who you think I should pick, and I have a feeling that all of us
won't take them anyway. But
thank you.
He'll still pick his guy.
Please just send him Joey Janela DMs all day.
Shut up! I hate you.
Janela.
Yeah,
man.
Talk about that, man. Like dirtbag Joey Janela. He'd
be a great fit for your team heel, dude.
He's all over social. Well, would he be? Because there's a lot of people out there who want to see Sonny Kiss turn heel against Joey Janela. Another Q&A from our fans out there.
such a good baby face, though.
I don't think you could turn right now, Sonny Kiss.
Especially
with the crowds
because
are gonna be
Joey's
so
the bad
excited.
boy, right?
Yeah, he's got to be the good boy, and he's not the good boy, so it
He's
doesn't
very
work.
naughty. Bad boy,
Yeah,
Joey.
he's a very bad boy, Joey.
Yeah, you know it. Mine runner's with us now, and he's shooting off rapid fire thoughts on this. He's all geeked out. He finally found out that we're gonna have this draft. I know Mind. I want to see you doing action figures of our draft. I want to see that. Who do you think we're gonna pick?
Pretty spot on. I mean, you are very spot on, Mind. I mean, you've been following us and you're reading us really well. Like, Crayfish will go with his heart. Bonds is the Moneyball statistics. Like we talked about a little bit earlier. You missed that a little bit.
I'm Paul DePodesta, baby. That's me.
And I would do a 50-50 booking. You know, I like the blend and the landscape all spread out. So, you know, I like to mix it up, you know.
Balance.
Even though I'm a true baby face at heart, I wouldn't go full team baby face. You know, there are heels that I like, but I am always pro baby face. So
yeah, that's
mine
great.
is like the commissioner, man. He gets it.
I know. He knows what's going on here at Dynamite Download.
I know.
And that's why if you're out there in the chat, you want to stick around with us, because the more you hang out with this community, the more you hang out with us, the more you'll get these jokes, the more fun you're going to have every single Wednesday and Friday night with us. It's just getting better and better, folks. I mean, I feel like we are hitting our stride. I feel like AEW's hitting their stride.
Yeah.
Bonds, like,
yeah.
I don't know about you, man. Like, the column's getting up every morning now. Like, you're killing it, and staying up overnight into the wee hours of the morning, writing the column. SPD, you're always editing the videos after recording on Wednesday nights and posting them live.
The amount of time we put into this, guys. We love you guys. Thank you for being here. Seriously, thank you for being here, because we put a lot of time into this. We love doing it. This is for you guys.
Yeah,
for the people
honestly,
that love watching us. Like, this is for you guys. Thank you for joining us every week. It's awesome.
I'm gonna get my last sip to that.
Cheers to that. We're gonna cheers to that for sure.
I love it. I love this family. I love the vibes that we're getting from the people out there. You know, and those of you who have stuck with us from day one know each of us now. You kind of get an opportunity to know who we are through our love for AEW, through our wrestling, and I think that's one of the great things, right? Is you get to learn about a little bit more about who the person is just based off of who their favorites are, right? I think that there's something special about that, and we've certainly talked a lot about, each of our favorites. SPD had the opportunity to drink chicken broth.
I knew it.
What a goon! Oh my God, I don't even know what to say. You're an animal.
So guys, I'm going to get some background information
Disgusting.
here. This is inside stuff. It's great, awesome stuff in the background here. I asked SPD in our private chat, are you drinking chicken broth? And yes, he is drinking chicken broth. That is awesome.
Hey, for all of you out there who want to get jacked, drink chicken broth.
Hold on. So it's bone broth. So it's actually really high in protein and low in calories. I didn't have dinner tonight, and my wife drinks it. She brings one of these whole things to work, and she'll drink it. 36 grams of protein, and it's very low calories. And so bone broth also has got a lot of collagen. We're not sponsored by Costco's bone broth, but it's a drink that just tastes like chicken noodle soup.
Dynamite Download. It's sponsored by
Costco
Kirkland
chicken noodle
bone
soup.
broth. Kirkland bone broth. My God.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. This is the grab bag. This is where we get into the questions from. Is that a Browns fan? No. SPD is a Detroiter. Us Browns fans would the only way we'd be drinking chicken broth is if it had whiskey.
If we won the Super Bowl and it had, we'd be drinking it then.
Yeah, we know how to party in the dog pound, and it does not include bone broth. I'll tell you that much.
It includes a lot of brewskis though.
Chicken broth and Venus pube shavers here at Dynamite Download. The drizzling shits sponsored by chicken broth and pube shavers. Oh God, aren't we something, folks?
Where did we go?
Where did we go wrong?
And we're back.
But guys, we're talking Q&A. I've tried to bring up some questions that we've got from fans, and if you have more,
we got to go back to Lance here because I still got to answer your question.
We're done.
Yes,
we're done
answer
with
it
Lance.
real quick. Wrap it up, Bonds.
I want to jump into the next topic, but go
real
ahead,
quick,
Bonds.
bro. Real quick. I think that the way to turn Lance is to turn him on Jake. That's the way to get him heel. Is to because Jake Roberts is the
modern wrestling fans would probably cheer if he beat up Jake Roberts, though.
That's not true. That's not true. AEW fans are smart, dude.
Airport, Jake was wearing oxygen around his nose.
Yeah, Jake Roberts is an old man. People aren't going to cheer for Lance Archer for beating up an old guy.
Well, Malachi Black just kicked Arn Anderson in the face.
Yeah, but everybody hates Cody. It's fine. You know what I mean?
I like Cody.
I think Cody's an honorable.
Yeah, your Cody's your team.
Cody is definitely an honorable team heel member. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, Cody's the ultimate heel right now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
he leaned into that this week.
They don't even know it.
I loved Cody's.
That was a great segment.
Yeah.
But you can move on, Crayfish. It's all right.
All right, thank you.
You're
because
welcome.
before Friday Night Flights and Fights gets too deep, and SPD, I know you got to get to bed soon, so we know we have a cutoff at midnight, just like Cinderella.
No, I'm gonna wrap it up shortly, and you guys can keep going and going.
We'll go on for 4 hours tonight.
We'll wrap this segment up, and then I'll sign off to the sunset.
All right, Pee Wee. Well, then we'll do it in style. I wanted to talk about the Bastard, Pac, the Death Triangle, and Andrade. What did you guys think about Andrade's segment? And it was just like, it was very odd. And I think it was very purposeful what Andrade said in that promo. He wants to have a meeting with the Death Triangle. It wasn't like I'm coming to kick their ass. My favorite wrestler in the whole world, the Bastard, he's been out of sight, out of mind a little bit lately. And he only comes out for the most important moments in AEW. And there's no bigger moment than a meeting between the Death Triangle and Andrade, El Idolo. Can you, to me, the talent, when you name off those four names, Andrade, Phoenix, Penta, Pac, when you name off those four names, I'm just in awe of like the talent that is right there before us. AEW pooling those two that really you wouldn't think would cross paths. Where is this story going in your mind, guys? And how would you like to see this play out going forward? Because I am, SPD, I know that you love the Lucha Brothers. I like Pac's my favorite wrestler in the world. I love the talent. And if you book this right, guys, Andrade, the Death Triangle, this could be something that could be like freaking killer. Where do you guys see it going? Am I crazy for being this excited?
I don't think you're crazy at all. I think this could be, there's two ways this could go, in my opinion. It could go as a feud or a team up. And if these guys can be a group together, that's the best stable in AEW right there. The Death Triangle immediately goes from being this team that is really talented but snake bitten to being a team that has Andrade also.
He's a workhorse.
So if somebody is hurt, who cares? You've got three other guys that are elite, top tier. That might be the thought process here. Hey, these guys get hurt a lot. Maybe they'll bring in the storyline. That happens a lot. These guys are always, one of them's always out.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
And that's what I always say as a diehard fan of the Death Triangle. I always say it's almost like it's too good to be.
They're too good.
It's too good to be true. God doesn't think that we're ready for a pro wrestling miracle like seeing the Death Triangle at full strength, because our minds would explode. It would be like biting from the tree of knowledge of pro wrestling, being able to see the Death Triangle at full strength, at full momentum. It feels like it was, and you're right, Bonds. No, whether it's the pandemic or injury, it feels like these guys are always not true.
They're never 100%.
And if you bring Andrade into the picture and you introduce sort of that like gang mentality of this crew. And this is where, I mean, I've seen a lot of people think, Andrade versus the Death Triangle. Maybe Andrade
should also be really cool.
Right. I mean, he who knows? Like, imagine the matchups if you got to see Andrade versus Penta, Andrade versus
he works
that's the way I
with all those guys.
That's how you do it, SPD?
I would do versus join. I don't think you need to have a join because you can't just like kick Vicky to the curb, and Vicky with all that wouldn't work to me. So I think an Andrade versus, and then ultimately maybe you have a versus just out of like respect, not like out of hatred, like a true babyface versus heel. And then after they have the kind of feud, then they join, and then you have the swerve of a backstab to stretch that out. But I would prefer a versus a join, in my opinion.
At least initially.
Yeah. Because all four, I mean, you put Andrade versus Ray, Penta, Pac, like how amazing would those matches
what's
be?
The goal? Like, I guess my question there is like, what's the goal of the feud? I guess we have to learn that. We have to learn. Like,
we don't know. It's like literally out of left field. Like none of us.
It was crazy.
Predicted,
That's
like,
why it was really interesting.
When his whole thing was like, my goal here is to get gold. Essentially, what like Miro said. Now all of a sudden you're like calling out the Death Triangle for no reason.
Well, that's why I think the
trios belt.
I think you're off base, SPD. That's why I disagree with you. My initial thought, and again, maybe it's because I'm biased and how like literally I would like cream my pants if Andrade joined up with the Death Triangle.
Right.
I would geek out so hard about that, and I think that would be such an incredible blending of talent. And Chris says it like he throws that comment out there. Wait until the trio championship belts. Imagine if like think about Andrade if Andrade comes into this and meets with Pac, Penta, and Phoenix and presents them an offer that they can't refuse as a team. For them to be able to be a dominant faction in AEW and to focus in on like going after the gold together. To SPD, I think that like if you're Andrade, you look at the landscape of AEW, you are the face of Latinos, right? You are the face of Lucha Libre. You look at the rest of the roster and you say, who else are my allies? Who else are my guys?
Right.
And
PNP's already within her circle.
And
you can't
even the dirtbag MJF has had to admit even how great MJF is, even though he's salt of the earth, he needs backup. With how stacked this roster is and with how many factions that are in this company.
Right.
Bonds, you bring up the point. Death Triangle has never been able to stay healthy. And if they could, imagine the force that they would be. You bring in Andrade, and now all of a sudden you have a believable force. Just as we start to see the elite maybe potentially falling off their power, like in the company, you could have a new rise of Andrade and Pac and Penta and Phoenix, and maybe they are the ones who lead the Rampage era with this trios belts that we're talking about. But I just think that if you're Andrade, you look around, and especially with Vicky in your ear, you know that Vicky's chirping in his ear about how to get the leg up, how to get the advantage. Right. Why would you not want to try to create a partnership with people who know where you're from and kind of know like what it takes to be a top?
She already tried with Jade. She did.
I don't know. And SPD, maybe you're right? But like, and maybe it become, and if they are right,
it could go either way right now.
If that's the case, and you get to see Andrade versus Penta, are you going to complain? I don't think so, right? I think if you get to see Andrade versus my guy, the Bastard,
right,
you're going to be given an incredible matchup. I just think that, like you talked about, when you look at Andrade's motivations and you look at what has happened with the Death Triangle and how they continue to get screwed over week after week after week by the elite, they are ripe for the picking for a salesman like to come in and give them a pitch and say, guys, let's work together. Let's work together for a common goal. Let's get some gold together, right? I don't know. I think that it would work, and that's coming as a Pac fan. Andrade as like that guy who's like the leader with the swagger and the confidence. Pac kind of being that brooding badass that like push comes to shove, you don't want to mess with this crew because you don't want to cross the bastard. And then you have that built-in tag team, just like any great stable. You have the built-in tag team with the Lucha Brothers. I think that could work really, really well. Imagine that crew against the Pinnacle, post-Pinnacle Inner Circle feud. Imagine if you got to see FTR versus the Lucha Brothers, Wardlow against Andrade, maybe. I mean, you think about Pac and MJF. There's a lot of opportunity there that I think would be very fascinating.
Yeah,
and it could be a combination of both. I mean, we could see a feud to start where we see a swerve and we see somebody get betrayed and kicked out of Death Triangle. That could work too.
The chat's talking right now about what if Andrade was able to persuade Phoenix and Penta to turn on Pac, and they become a strong lucha, like a true lucha faction, and they become a new group. Like, imagine that, because
and then he's always wearing his mask.
Pac can go on and do his own thing and not be hurt.
That might be the way to get him in the main event at some point too.
I mean, Pac's proven. You could separate him from the Death Triangle, and there would be no loss.
He'd be fine.
He'd be fine, right? And if you slide Andrade in there, it's almost, in some ways, it's even more of a natural fit. Personality, like Andrade's got that over the top personality.
You have Alex come in there and do their promo work.
It's perfect. Like a pure lucha, pure Latin stable. That makes a lot of sense. Turn on Pac. Maybe Pac becomes a babyface. Then another top heel.
On that note,
Crayfish will be team babyface.
I got to sign off into the sunset. Keep the party going, please.
Peace be with you. We're going to have our last segment of the night. We're going to talk about DMD. So, SPD, you probably wouldn't have said anything anyway. I'd be talking.
That's right. All I got to say is
have a good night.
I love DMD. Come on.
Fun at work tomorrow.
Get out of here.
If I get the first overall pick in this draft, I'm picking DMD, bro.
If you do that,
just to make him mad,
I will hate you forever. All Out weekend, I will torture you with bets. You are going to go down, brother, on All Out weekend. If you take DMD, you will never hear the end of it.
When you're snoring like a wildebeest, you're getting spray tan, bro.
Oh, no. Just spray tan his forehead.
You're either getting spray tanned or you're getting cold sprayed, bro.
Of course you would. You
got to get that
knowing you, I know you'll do it too, you dirtbag. You're a baby face,
bro.
You're a baby face, but I'll wake up with like baby powder all over my face spray tan.
Some surprises for a live show and All Out weekend. Maybe I gotta find. I messaged Cutler. I was like, "Where you get that cold spray, bro?" So I can pull it out of my backpack and spray you.
I love it. I love it.
Spray you both down. It. All right, guys. See ya. Thank you all. Love you all. Thank you.
My eyebrows, Brian. Brian, I thought we were friends. Oh,
can't wait for the draft, man. I cannot wait for the draft.
It's gonna be awesome next week.
It's gonna be a lot of fun, guys. The draft is gonna be a lot of fun. Cannot wait.
Thank you and good night.
Boop.
See. All right, Bond. So now we're on to the last segment of tonight's show.
Yep.
We saved the best for last. Our highest ratings in videos this week, in views this week from Dynamite Download. Certainly not to my surprise. I mean,
not to mine either. I love this segment.
Well, why don't I let you talk a little bit about why did you love this segment,
Okay.
Bonds? Tell me a little bit about that.
So I know that everybody here probably watched Friday Night Flights and Fights last week when it was just me and Crayfish. And I said last week, I think Britt can work as a babyface as long as you keep her the same.
Yep.
And have her opponents be smart with it. You keep it, you keep it there, you stretch it out, you make her the baby face, but you keep her a heel, kind of. She's kind of like that mid there.
Yes.
This week she did that and it was perfect. Perfect. It was perfect.
Yep.
And this was the best work she's done since she won the title. It wasn't close.
I totally agree.
Wasn't close. And the crowd just ate it up, and they wouldn't even let Vicky, and Vicky could make all her jokes about shoving jalapenos up Britt's butt that she wants. and Nyla can say whatever she wants.
I don't
remember anything Nyla said.
Not to be disrespectful to Nyla. I don't even know what she said, and I don't think anybody in the crowd did either. That was my first takeaway from that, dude. Was just like, everyone was reeling from the DMD, just absolutely
eviscerating both.
Like you said, eviscerating them. It was just that was straight ether, bro. You know what I mean? Like that was some like that. Like my reaction was it was like she ripped Nyla's heart out and just let everybody watch it bleed there. Like she tore Nyla apart. Like
she ended that feud.
She just surgically cut Nyla apart, bro. It was dirty. It was dirty. It was almost like I felt bad for Nyla.
Me too. Oh, it was like they should have like read the room and not even played that pre-recorded reply. They shouldn't have even played it.
No, it did them no favors. And that was my thing too, dude, was like when I saw that promo from the DMD, I agree with you. It was the perfect blend of being the baby face while still keeping her edge. I agree with all that.
It was awesome.
But that's why, like, when we talked about what match we were most excited about for Fyter Fest Night 2, it was DMD versus Nyla. And the main reason why is because it's like, bro, Malachi Black talked about the promo about taking the prize horse out back and shooting it in the head.
That was awesome.
I'm sorry, but like the DMD's got to take not the native beast out back and boom, put her down. Put her down because that promo was like, I mean, she gutted. I mean, literally, dude, it felt
gutted.
Like surgically just cut her up.
She said what most of the audience was thinking.
It was brutal, and I know that I'm the DMD fanboy, but promos like that are exactly why I feel validated. It's like that's what I've been talking about. That's an example of a promo that I'm sorry, there aren't a lot of people in professional wrestling. There aren't a lot of people in professional wrestling who can cut a promo like Britt Baker. It doesn't matter what gender. It doesn't matter what company. It doesn't matter what country. Britt Baker cuts promos when she's on her A game, Bonds. I honestly think she's in that top tier. And this was that example from that night. Fyter Fest Night 2, you see what I see, right? You see Britt taking Nyla down. What happens? We're going to talk about the next 3 title contenders for the women's championship next week. But what happens to Nyla and to Britt after next week?
Well, honestly, with Nyla, I'm going to say it's going to be more of the same for a little while. Where Nyla, during the pandemic era, unfortunately wasn't really showcased very much. While I've been working with you guys over the better part of a year now, Nyla has only had a handful of matches on television.
And that's wild to think about for those of us who have watched
since the beginning.
From the beginning, because Nyla, the native beast, really was it was her and Riho for a while there at the beginning.
Yeah.
It was like it's crazy to think about where and Britt's talk, and that's why I think Britt's promos are hitting like they are, because it's like they're kind of true. Like Nyla without the title, I don't know what's going on for her character.
There's nothing right now. There's nothing right now. And that's why I talked about with Ricky Starks earlier about with Brian Cage. I want to see that with them, where Britt brought up, like, you're irrelevant without the belt. What do you do when you don't have the title? I think that's a really good way to approach this.
Yep.
So like, hey, you didn't beat me. After they win, I want Britt to say, like, you didn't beat me, you're irrelevant, get out of here.
Yep.
And I want that to be how she approaches it. I want that to be like what she does. She doesn't even care. Like, yeah, this is my first feud. It was a waste of my time.
Back of the line.
Back of the line. You're done.
Back
and
of the line.
Whoever comes up, that's next. I have to think about who I want to see with Britt next. That's going to be really tough. But obviously we want to see Thunder eventually, but that might be long term. Long term.
Hold off.
Exactly.
Hold off. Make us wait.
Correct.
Make us wait. Let that be the end of the DMD era.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel about it. But with Nyla, I think you need to make her look strong. And that's the tough part. You have to make her look strong at somebody smaller than her, which is always the hard thing to do when you have somebody like her. And I think AEW struggles with this.
Well,
and
I think Bonds, I think that you're onto something there, though. You got to make Nyla look strong. And I think that, people out there can love or hate Britt. I don't really give a shit. I'm a DMD mark for the rest of for the rest of my life, bro. I think that this woman has transformed her character. And you go back and because I'm such a DMD fan, I went back and watched a lot of her earlier stuff before she got onto AEW. Bro, this is a completely different person. Like completely different. So the work that this person has put in, a lot of haters out there want to dog the DMD and doubt what she's capable of and and let's not get it twisted. Most improved wrestler in the world last year. So to me, I think that your point about having her knock Nyla to the back of the line, get her out of there. I like that. I like that a lot. And I think that Britt needs to go on a run. I know people are afraid of feeding characters like Statlander to Britt Baker, but you gotta be careful. Dude, we don't say that about Kenny Omega beating Jungle Boy.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, Statlander.
Let's be honest.
The problem with the women's division is that there's not enough.
It's not as deep. It's not as deep.
There's not enough matches.
But
that's my biggest issue. There's one match a week on TV.
That'll change. That will hopefully change.
Yes, with Rampage, right? It better change.
It will. That'll change. But man, if you're asking me on the spot with my own question, I didn't even think about it before I asked you here. But if I'm looking at Nyla post DMD feud, the first thing that comes to mind that I would find interesting is if Rebel somehow cost Nyla the belt because because of what Nyla did to Rebel. You think about the injury that the Rebel suffered. Have Rebel to come out to ringside with the DMD with her crutches clutch. Have her use her crutch. Cost Nyla the championship. And as you talked about, let Nyla look like a native beast. We know Britt is willing to go through hell.
Yeah.
And you could say whatever you want about Britt Baker, but you're not going to question this woman's toughness. I don't care if you don't like her in-ring work. I do, but I don't care if you don't like her in-ring work. You are not going to question her toughness. What she's willing to go through, getting powerbombed on thumbtacks, dude. Let's be real. There's a lot. I wouldn't do that. And I'm a grown man. So you got to give props where props are due. But I think what would be an interesting story is you lean into Rebel gets her revenge, costs Nyla her championship against the DMD. And just like what we saw with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, where they cheated to win, consistently cheated to win, a group of people started to naturally form to go against them. We saw Moxley and Kingston team up with Penta and the Death Triangle. We saw Frankie Kazarian join them, getting screwed over by these guys, creating sort of a ragtag group against the Elite. I could see something similar happening in the women's division. Why not allow maybe Vicky Guerrero becomes the mastermind? And you think
that'd be cool? I like that.
Do you think Shida isn't frustrated with the way she lost after being the longest reigning women's champion? Do you think that Sheeta's not a little frustrated that Rebel got involved in her matches with Britt Baker? You think that Sheeta's maybe just a little pissed off that she hasn't got her rematch yet for the title? So Vicky could immediately...
That'd be a way to give Sheeta some edge, too.
And think about how fun a heel turn for Sheeta would be. Immediately you think about her offense, her knee strikes, her kicks, how the snap and the brutality of her offense. Yeah. The fact that she has the kendo stick, or now kind of bringing out even stepping it up even further with she's been using a metal like candlestick basically. Sheeta has an edge, and imagine if you allowed her to lean into that edge. Get Vicky, she's ripe for the taking. If Vicky, the devious Vicky as she is, if Nyla loses the title in the same way, Sheeta lost the title in the same way, maybe, just maybe, Vicky could create a women's revolution against the DMD and eventually potentially turn Rebel against the DMD down the road. I think that there's a lot of potential with the DMD getting so delusional that she screws all these people over. The people who get screwed over because of Rebel's interference get frustrated and join together to want to beat her. And the DMD takes Rebel for granted the entire time.
And eventually Rebel gets tired of it too.
Rebel gets tired of being the person who props up the DMD's title reign, leaves the DMD by herself against the ultimate opponent. And now we see DMD have to go face to face with Thunder Rosa without the help of Rebel. And that's when Thunder Rosa dethrones the DMD, and DMD then has to go back to Rebel, tail between her legs, begging for her to come back, because ultimately we want to see Rebel and Britt together again in the end. I mean, they're too great to break up long term. That's how I look at it. I think that would be a lot of fun. And I know that tonight I talked a lot about people teaming up and being buddies. You know, I want Andrade to team up with the Death Triangle.
You just like promoting friendship, bro.
I'm all about. Yeah. I really am. I know it's funny, I'm the heel, but I really am about friendship-based wrestling. I really love.
You love the New Day. Crayfish loves the New Day, guys.
Like, I love relationships. I love when it makes I love that the New Day has refused to truly break up and turn on each other,
even though they're not on the same show.
Yeah, and even though management wanted that and has pushed for that at times. I love that there's such thing as true friends in wrestling, just like we have. We're friends. I'm not trying to turn on you. I want good things for you, and I think that wrestling has lost a lot of that. And that's one of the great things about AEW is, think about Moxley and Kingston, how that story went from two friends that one of them was incredibly bitter and jealous against over the other one's success.
Now they're boys again, and
now they've come to peace through going to war with each other, and now they're boys. Think about the way that Matt Jackson presented the story to Hangman at Fyter Fest Night 1, talking about their friendship, saying that we used to be your best friends. Now you've replaced us with the Dark Order. I love I love that AEW acknowledges the relationships, acknowledges the interactions that these characters and people have with each other. It feels real, like The Office. It feels like a show where, these characters all interact with each other and those stories build on each other. And that's how you get long-term storytelling. And I think that the DMD era really needs to be defined by Britt kind of becoming – now think about this, Bonds. Now, not only is she the face of the women's division, the first signing of the company for the women's division in company history, one of the highest selling T-shirt, the highest selling merch draw, all of these things, right? Britt is now she's the champion, right? But then imagine if, when she goes to Pittsburgh, back-to-back nights, Dynamite and Rampage, imagine the pop she's going to get, right?
Oh my God.
Imagine Britt as an egomaniac, even though she's starting to become babyface. Just imagine how much she's going to eat up the adulation that she's going to get, how big the ego of the DMD is going to get, dude. We all know that Britt has an ego to her. Imagine if everything that she's wanted, she's the champ, she's the top draw, she's getting massive pops everywhere she goes. Her mutant-looking action figure sells like hotcakes.
That's not Britt Baker. I'm not convinced.
That face looks like Britt Baker, with
it looks like Britt Baker mixed with Sloth from the Goonies.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. That's a good way. We waited this long for a Britt Baker action figure.
We get freaking sloth.
And you give us, and you, hey, you guys.
Hey, you guys.
Ruth, baby Ruth. I want to get the
Chunk.
D&D
I'm waiting for
action.
Chunk to be your new tag team partner.
Bonds, you start talking too much about Chunk, I'm gonna have you get up and give us a truffle shuffle.
Truffle shuffle. We'll both do it.
Yeah, all right.
We'll do it.
We've gone over on time. The people have stuck with us. We're over on time, Bonds.
Yeah.
You know, I could talk to you for another hour about the DMD era, but I think that you and I both agree that the DMD is going to slay the native beast
and
next
she needs
week.
a new action figure. We also agree on that.
Yes, we also agree with that. Brian, let us know how the DMD figure, how that stacks up. Compare in Mind Runner. Are you going to get the DMD action figure so that you can have her win the championship in your cheese league? I would love that, guys. Thank you so much, guys, gals, the inner marks out there, all of you who give us a shot each and every week. You know, I've been marveling at some of the views we get. I know we're still so small fish.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
It's so cool, man. It's so great to see. Like, dude, I'm kind of genuinely just humbled that like people will listen to me talk about wrestling. It just makes me, I don't know.
Crayfish and I used to do this like 10 years ago when we were watching SmackDown.
Yep.
And we would like be on Xbox Live like chat. Like, oh man, like this is really cool, or this sucked. You know what I mean? Like we'd talk about this all the time. So this is just for us. This is awesome. We love doing this. In SPD too. I'm not going to speak for him, but like I know he loves doing this too.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
We love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Wednesday night, Bonds is going to join us Wednesday night post show.
We're going to have our draft order figured out, guys.
Fighter Fest night 2 is going to be a big enough show where Bonds, you know, like I think all of us here are jonesing. We're loving the tidal wave of positivity. AW, you know, Road Rager, Fighter Fest night 1, and now Fighter Fest night 2. It feels like we're almost getting a whole month of pay-per-views.
It's awesome
on television, and I think that it's great that you're going to join us on Wednesday night. We're going to have a lot of fun. We'll announce that draft order for our personal.
We'll make sure we get the rules out too. We're not going to drop the rules on you guys on Friday. So
yeah, so
we'll figure all that out.
Look forward to it. Everybody have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We will talk to you all on social, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
Have a good weekend, guys.